Hello student, once again welcome you all in this online session of science part 1. Today we are going to discuss the first unit, it is gravitation, and myself Samadhan Patil. Let us start the concept of gravitation. Already you have seen this concept in 9th standard. Okay, so today we will discuss some more part of this concept. Let us see them one by one. Okay, recall some things that you know already or you have studied that all things. Okay, so first is what are the effect of force acting on an object घ्या किंवा body घ्या. Okay, in your day to day life you are acting some forces, काही टाईपचे फोर्सेस तुम्ही ऍक्ट करतात. फॉर एक्झाम्पल तुम्ही सायकल चालवतात, बरोबर आहे, एक प्रकारे तुम्ही फोर्स ऍक्ट करतायत. फॉर एक्झाम्पल तुम्ही क्रिकेट खेळतात, बॉल फेकतात किंवा बॅटने चेंडू मारतात, बरोबर आहे, दिस इज ऑल्सो अँड फोर्स. ओके, सर अशा प्रकारचे कुठले कुठले फोर्सेस आणि त्यांचा काय इफेक्ट होतोय ऑब्जेक्टवर, दॅट वी नो. ओके, दॅट वी नो ॲक्च्युअली. सो टेल मी what type of effects of force acting on an object. So here some effects are there. So first is, see in the first picture. So if you see in this picture, see a man use a force to move a stationary lawn mower. Okay, so see lawn mower is there. Okay, and he uses force to move that land mower. Okay, so he just apply that land mower. So it means what? So if we act the force, so due to that force we can change the position of the object. Okay, so if we act and force, a force can set the motion of the object or its position of the object. Okay, in second, see a cycle use a bigger force to pedal his bicycle and increase its speed. Means what? We use the force to change the speed. Okay, so a force can change the speed of the object. Am I right? So this is one thing. Third is, see position and speed. So a footballer uses a force to change the direction of the motion of a ball. So we therefore, so the force can change the direction and motion of a ball. So direction and motion of the object, see here, so that footballer change the direction of a football. So if you play cricket also, so if a bowler throw a ball, then the batsman, what he done, so he just changed the direction of ball using his bat. Okay, तर तो बॅटने काय करतो, चेंज करतो डायरेक्शन. सो दिस इज one more example. And now fourth one is a baker used the force on his dog to shape into a curry puff. ओके, तो पफ तयार करतोय त्याच्यावरनं, तो तो त्याचा फोर्स यूज करतोय. सो एक्चुअली दिस इज द एक्झाम्पल ऑफ चेंज इन शेप of the object. Okay, so these are the effect of force acting on an object. So there are a lot of effects are there on the object. So that we have seen, a force can set a body in motion. Second thing, a force can acting on a body can change the speed of the body. Okay, then force can change the direction of motion of the body or object. A force can change the speed as well as the direction of a motion of the object. Am I right? A force can change the shape and size of the body on which it acts. So it changes the shape, it changes the speed, then it changes the position, it changes the direction. Okay, so these are the effects of forces acting on the body or object, so that you know already. Okay, second thing, what type of forces are you familiar with? ओके, कुठले कुठले फोर्सेस तुम्हाला माहिती आहेत, सांगता येतील? Yes, you know that actually. See, applied force. Okay, so you apply the force, that is applied force. Spring force, spring माहिती आहे सगळ्यांना. ओके, तर ती कॉन्ट्रॅक्ट होते, तिला सोडली तर ती रिलॅक्स होते, तर दॅट स्प्रिंग फोर्स. ड्रॅग फोर्स. ओके, हा बलून आहे बघा, सो so that drag force. Then magnetic force is there, you know this magnetic force, magnets experiment to make a lab. Electric force is there, this is in between two electrons and protons, neutrons, this is electric force. Gravitational force, this is also, you know. Frictional force is again there, and normal forces are there. Okay, these are some types of forces that you know. Okay, so instead of all in these all forces, we are interested in what now? Today we are interested in which force? Gravitation force. Okay, gravitational force. So we will discuss in detail about this gravitation force. Okay, because the unit is gravitational gravitation, so we see all the things in detail about the gravitation. And next next question is, what do you know about the gravitation? So do you know about the gravitation? About the gravitation, yes, every body attract another body. Okay, there is a force of attraction between any two bodies that you know actually. Okay, so that force is exist in between any two bodies in the universe. Okay, so therefore gravitational force is what? It is a universal force. Yes, that force is exists in between every two objects in the universe: earth, sun, Jupiter, Saturn, all whatever that. Even if on the earth, if two objects are there, there is a force of attraction between them. Okay, and therefore what? It acts between any two objects in the universe, and therefore it is universal force that you know. Okay, and so one more question for you: what are the Newton's law of motion? Okay, law of motion already you have studied. Okay, so just uh, mm, remember them. What are the Newton's law of motion? Actually there are three laws of motion. So first law is what? Newton first law, Newton second law, and Newton third law. So every body is, if the body is in a uniform velocity, or it is kept at a rest, so it is at the same position if no external force is applied on that. Okay, second law is what? Change in momentum is directly proportional to mass into acceleration. F is equal to m into rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to force. Okay, so F is equal to ma, this is the second law. And what is third law? Every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, so remember all that law. Okay, so there are examples also, so you have to also find their examples so that you can understand better about Newton's law of motion. Find some examples, at least one example for each law. Okay, now let us start our topic, gravitation. So if you see the picture, what we have actually, so the person sitting over there is a Newton. Yes, you know that. Okay, and so there is an apple tree, and one apple is now um, moved towards his head. Okay, so it is put down, and therefore what is that? Yes, this is very interesting story. It is very well known story, as we know that the concept of gravitation is introduced by what? Sir Isaac Newton. Sir is the what? His त्याला ती पदवी मिळाली होती sir. Okay, so it is a very talented person, and he not only discovered gravitation, but also he has a lot of contribution in mathematics and science also in the other part. Okay, in the light theory also. Okay, so we will discuss about that, his work, and uh, all other details. Okay, so let us know about the story. So he is seated over there, and the, as we know, as we have learned that the phenomenon of gravitation was discovered by Sir Isaac Newton. So as the story goes, he discovered the force of by seeing an apple fall from a tree. Okay, see that the apple is falling from the tree on his head, and he just wondered about that, why the apple fall vertically downward. Okay, so why this apple fall vertically downward, or why this apple will not go vertically upward direction. Okay, or in this direction, or in this direction. Okay, so why it is coming downward direction. Okay, see, he wondered that about this concept, okay, about this phenomena of this apple. Okay, so why do not fly off in a horizontal direction? Okay, in horizontal direction or in upward direction, why this is happen? So finally he conclude that the force of earth, so earth is attracting that apple. He after the lot of thought, he just thought that the apple, earth attract the apple towards itself. Okay, so he conclude that, see, earth, what, there is some type of force in the earth which attracts the apple towards itself, towards the center of this earth. Okay, so after much thought he came to the conclusion that the earth must be attracting the apple towards itself, and this attractive force must be directed toward the center of the earth. Okay, so whatever this force, that force must be directed toward the center of the earth. Okay, and the direction from the apple on the tree to the center of the earth is a vertical direction. So that direction is a vertical, not a square, not a curve shape. It is strictly what, it is vertical. See, this is a vertical direction. Okay, so therefore what, at the position of the apple, and thus the apple fall vertically downward. Okay, so whatever the position of apple, so that apple fall vertically downward towards the center of the earth. Okay, because the earth attracting that apple towards itself, therefore what, the apple fall vertically downward. See, he conclude that after, so after the much thought he came to the conclusion about the apple attracted by the force acted by what, earth. Okay, and the uh, position of the apple is what, so that that apple fall vertically downward. Okay, so position of the apple, and because this is the direction at the position of the downward, vertical direction at the position of the apple, so therefore that apple comes towards the earth. Okay, vertically, in the vertical direction, downward direction. Okay, now the force of an apple on the tree is towards what? Towards the center of the earth. See here. So the force of on an apple. So whatever the force acting on an apple by the earth, it is what? It is towards the center of the earth. Okay. So center of the, that is along the perpendicular from the position of the apple to the surface of the earth. Okay, see, this is the perpendicular actually to the earth from the position of the apple. So after that he think that if the apple, so same type of force is acting on an apple, so is the same type of force is acting on the object far from the earth, that is if we think about the moon, and is that same type of force is acting on the moon, म्हणजे तो सेम टाईपचा जो फोर्स आहे तो मूनवर पण ऍक्ट होत असेल का, चंद्रावर पण तो ग्रॅव्हिटेशन फोर्स ऍक्ट होत असेल का, किंवा चंद्राच्या बाहेर जे प्लॅनेट्स आहेत त्यांच्या सोबत पण तो ग्रॅव्हिटेशन फोर्स ऍक्ट होत असेल का. सो दॅट ही want to know. Okay, the figure also shows in this figure, so between the earth and moon, so there is a force between the earth and moon, and that is called as what, gravitational force. Whatever the force is there in between apple and earth, so because apple is attracted by the earth, so therefore that type of force is called as what, gravitational force. ते कुठला फोर्स आहे तुमचं, ग्रॅव्हिटेशनल फोर्स आहे. आणि सेम मग ते चंद्रावर पण अप्लाय होत असेल का, येस, that same gravitational force is applied on the moon also. the distances in the figure are not according to the scale. Okay, so that distances are not because I just this figure I just for your understanding. Okay, so Newton thought that if the force of gravitation act on apple on the tree, he just thought that if the force of gravitation act on apple tree at the different height from the surface. Okay, so because see, every apple is not at the same height. Okay, so they are at the different heights. Okay, but still the force of attraction means gravitational force is acting on every apple. So same here he thought that, so surface, can it also act on the object at even greater heights? He thought that जी त्या ऍपल पेक्षा जास्त उंचीवर असणाऱ्या प्रत्येक ऑब्जेक्टवर ग्रॅव्हिटेशनल फोर्स ऍक्ट होईल का, असं त्याने विचार केला. लाईक फॉर एक्झाम्पल मूनवर तो ऍक्ट होईल का, नंतर तो अदर प्लॅनेट्सवर ऍक्ट होईल का, किंवा सनवर ऍक्ट होईल का, सूर्यावर ऍक्ट होईल का, दॅट ही वॉन्ट टू नो. ओके, तर त्याने असा विचार केला की त्या टाईपचे फोर्सेस जे आहेत ते चंद्रावर, सूर्यावर किंवा अदर प्लॅनेटवर ऍक्ट होतील का. ओके, सो ही जस्ट थिंक अबाउट दॅट. Now the next concept is the circular motion and centripetal force. Okay, this is very important concept, circular motion and centripetal force. Okay, so let us perform the activity. So that one activity, it is important to understand the concept of circular motion and centripetal force. हा concept समजून घेण्यासाठी एक activity, एक प्रयोग आपण ट्राय करूया. टाय अ स्टोन टू एंड ऑफ द स्ट्रिंग. एक स्ट्रिंग घ्या, दोरी घ्या किंवा स्ट्रिंग जे काय असेल त्याला एक स्टोन बांधा. ओके, आणि एक एंड तुमच्या हातात घ्या आणि त्याला गोल गोल फिरवा लाईक दिस. Okay, see, so that string is there and we have tie a stone to the another end and we just revolving that. Okay, त्याला फिरवायचंय. So move along a circle, rotate the string so that a stone move along a circle. बघा, हे along a circle, circular direction मध्ये move होतोय आता तो स्टोन. येते लक्षात. मग आता इथे काय होतंय, तो का फिरतोय असा, तो पडून का जात नाही स्टोन, बिकॉज we are acting some force on that स्टोन. ओके, जोपर्यंत आपण फिरवतोय तो तोपर्यंत राहील. जर आपण एकदाचा सोडून दिला, दॅट मूव अवे इन अ स्ट्रेट लाईन. तो ज्या पोझिशनला असेल सोडायच्या वेळेला त्या पोझिशनवरून तो स्ट्रेट लाईनला दूर कुठेतरी पडून जाईल. येते लक्षात. ओके, सो आर यू अप्लाइंग एनी फोर्स ऑन द स्टोन? Yes. Are you applying any force on the stone? Yes, we are applying some force on the stone. Therefore, that's why it is revolving in the circular motion. आपण त्याच्यावर फोर्स अप्लाय करतोय म्हणूनच तो सर्क्युलर मोशन मध्ये फिरतोय. येते लक्षात. इफ वी स्टॉप दॅट टू अप्लाय द फोर्स, आपण जर त्याला सोडून दिला तर तो काय होईल, स्ट्रेट लाईन मध्ये सरळ निघून जाईल. येते लक्षात. इन विच डायरेक्शन इज दिस फोर्स ऍक्टिंग? कुठल्या डायरेक्शनने? आता तो स्टोन काय करतोय बघा, तो सर्क्युलर ऑर्बिट मध्ये फिरतोय आणि तो कुठे येण्याचा प्रयत्न करतोय, तुमच्या हाताजवळ. ओके, सो इट इज ट्राइंग टू रीच ॲट द सेंटर. ओके, अँड व्हॉट इज द सेंटर? सेंटर इज हियर. सी, जिथे तुम्ही पकडलंय ते सेंटर आहे. आय हॅव मार्क हियर. ओके, सो दिस इज द सेंटर. ओके, तो जिथे तुम्ही पकडलाय तिथे तो सेंटर आहे. तो स्टोन काय करतोय, तिथे येण्याचा प्रयत्न करतोय. सो and what is the direction in this force acting, in which direction? So it is toward the center. Okay, how will you stop this force from acting? Okay, and what will be the effect of on the stone? How will you stop this force from acting? कशा प्रकारे तुम्ही थांबवू शकता ते फोर्स, जर तुम्ही काय केलं, if you left out that string. Okay, this string जर तुम्ही सोडून दिली, and then that force will stop. Okay, acting force will stop, and what happen, that stone throw away. Okay, so तो स्टोन निघून जाईल, पडून जाईल, कुठल्या तरी स्ट्रेट लाईन मध्ये निघून जाईल. येते लक्षात. Okay, so what is my centripetal force? Then as long as we are holding the string, we are what, see, we are pulling the stone towards us. बघा इथे बघा, हा जो स्टोन आहे असा फिरतोय. ओके, इन सर्क्युलर ऑर्बिट, अँड ही जी डायरेक्शन आहे बघा, ग्रीन एरो इथला. ओके, सी हियर, see that stone trying to reach at the center of this circular orbit. Okay, see this direction, this arrow, so this stone trying to reach at here. Okay, so as long as we are holding the string, we are pulling the stone towards us, we are pulling that stone actually towards us, that is toward the center of the circle. Okay, this is the circular path, circular orbit, and that stone trying to reach at the center of the circle. Okay, and are applying a force toward it. Okay, and that force are applied towards it. Okay, the force stop acting if we release the string. If we release the string, that force will stop. Okay, so if we release the string, that force will stop, and what happen, the stone will fly off along a straight line which is the tangent to the circle. See this red color tangent, whatever the point. So if we release the string, that stone then fly off along the straight line. इथे सोडला तर असा सरळ निघून जाईल. So that stone come in this direction if we release the string. Okay, if we release the string, then it goes like this. Okay, so therefore what happen here, that stone will fly off along a straight line in which is the tangent to the circle at the point. This is the tangent actually to the circle. Okay, when the string is released, because that is the direction of its velocity at that instant of time. Why? Because see the direction of velocity is here. Okay, so this is the velocity, direction of velocity, कारण इथे त्याचं स्पीड आहे आणि जर सोडलं तर तो असा निघून जाईल, बरोबर, कारण त्याची डायरेक्ट वेलोसिटी डायरेक्शन हे हा arrow indicate करतोय. This red arrow indicate what? Its direction of velocity, isn't it? Okay, now a force act on an object. What is meant by centripetal force then? A force act on any object moving along a circle. Okay, and it is directed toward the center of the circle. What is meant by centripetal force then? A force act on an object moving along a circle and it is directed toward the center of the circle is called as what? Centripetal force. Okay, so the force acting on a body moving along a circle and it is directed towards the center of the circle is called as what? Centripetal force. Centripetal force means what? Center seeking, means it is directed towards the center. The object try to go toward the center of the circle because of this force. So that force is called as what? Centripetal force. Okay, so this is the definition of centripetal force. See, this is very important. Okay, so because this definition may be there in the exam, this is very important concept. Okay, so what is meant by centripetal force? The force which is acting on the body along the circle and it directed toward the center of the circle is called as what? Centripetal force. It is actually what? Center seeking. Okay, so you know that the moon, then let us see the next concept related with this centripetal force. Okay, so you know that the moon, which is the natural satellite of the earth. Okay, see this graphic. Okay, see here the moon is revolving around the earth in the circular orbit. Okay, now this moon is trying to reach at the center of the earth. Yes, but there is a force. Okay, which force? Centripetal force. Okay, so because of centripetal force, that moon is revolving around the earth. And what is the reason of that? It is the gravitation actually. Okay, you know that the moon, which is the natural satellite of the earth, goes around it in a definite orbit. The direction of the motion of the moon as well as its speed constantly changes. See this direction and speed is constantly changes during the motion. Do you know, do you think some force is constantly acting on the moon? Okay, so the some forces are constantly acting on the moon. What must be the direction of this force? Okay, so what is the direction of this force? Okay, how would its motion have been if no such force act on it? So what will happen जर ते force act होत नसलं तर काय होईल? What would be the direction of that force? Okay, what would be the direction? Do the other planets in the solar system revolve around the sun in similar fashion? ओके, जसं चंद्र पृथ्वीभोवती फिरतोय तसे बाकीचे प्लॅनेट्स पण सूर्याभोवती अशाच प्रकारे फिरतात का, ते आपल्याला माहिती पाहिजे. सो दॅट वी अबाउट टू नो. ओके, and is a similar forces acting on them, what must be its direction. हे काही क्वेश्चन्स आहेत that questions are very important, because if you know the answer of these questions you should understand the concept of gravitation, concept of centripetal force. Okay, so see here that moon is revolving around, it is orbiting around the earth. Okay, so in circular orbit. Okay, so is there are some type of forces acting on the moon. Okay, so if that forces stop acting, what will happen, what would be the direction of moon. And similar, in the similar fashion, is that another planets in the solar system revolving around the sun. Okay, so that we want to know. Okay? So from the above activity and example and the question, it is clear that for the moon to go around the earth, there must be force which is exerted on the moon, and this force must be exerted by the earth, which attracts the moon towards itself. ओके, काय होतंय, एक प्रकारचं फोर्स आहे की ते काय करतंय, चंद्राला पृथ्वीकडे अट्रॅक्ट करतंय. ओके, आणि that force of attraction is what, it is gravitation. Okay, and similarly the sun must be attracting the planet including our earth towards itself. Okay, so this is the concept of centripetal force and gravitation. Okay, that force is what, gravitation. Because of gravitation all the solar system is running. Okay, all the planets are revolving around the sun, and the moon is revolving around what, earth also. Okay, so because if there is no force of attraction, there is no solar system. Okay, so there is no moon, there is no earth. Okay, so today we just stop here. Okay, for the next lecture, in the next concept we will discuss. पुढच्या लेक्चर मध्ये आपण केपलर्स लॉ ऑफ मोशन बघणार आहेत, केपलर्स लॉ. ओके, आणि त्याच्यानंतर अजून काही कन्सेप्ट असतील ते बघूया. देर आर 2-3 लॉज ऑफ केपलर. ओके, दॅट वी विल डिस्कस. तोपर्यंत हे सगळे कन्सेप्ट तुम्ही व्यवस्थित लक्षात ठेवायचे आहे. सो टुडे वी हॅव learn about the gravitation, what is meant by gravitation, what is meant by centripetal force, what is meant by circular motion, some examples about all that things. Okay, so thank you.